welcome to the show. I'm your host, Bryan Lee Whatley. Our story begins tonight with our very special guest, actress, singer, and songwriter Tiffinni St. Ranae. As an actress, Tiffinni has appeared in several movies, like Something About Mary, has done many commercials, and several off-Broadway shows, and she's currently pushing a few movies now that will be out soon. As a singer, she is known as one of the big voice divas in the most kindest sense of the diva term. Her ability to cross over musical genres from R&B, jazz, rock, reggae, opera, and soul leaves her as a fan favorite in her shows, wowing them with her vocal talent. From what the chatter is in the industry, some of the notes that she hits is exhilarating. And you're going to hear some of that tonight. Our musical guest is, of course, Tiffinni, with several of her songs like Ceremony and Distracted. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome, Tiffinni. How are you doing today?
I'm very glad to be on your show, Brian. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you. There's so much stuff out there that you're doing, and you're so super busy. So thank you for taking time to talk with us tonight.
Hey, it's a great show, so it's very much worthwhile to be here with you.
Oh, thanks. So tell us a little bit more than what I just mentioned. Before we get into everything else, give us some good snoop on you.
Okay, well, yes, ever since I was little, I was always into the arts. I tap danced. I was into going to pageants where my mom took me. I was in musical theater, of course, and was singing. You know, I had a voracious appetite to listen to every type of music I could get my hands on to, you know, or CDs. And plus, I was always drawing little comic strips and writing, writing. So I guess it means a lot to me to be kind of into the music, the film, the writing, even drawing pictures sometimes to be in the artwork of the new releases. And I have a lot of interesting news, so yeah, I'm really glad to share as much as I can with you guys.
Oh, cool. So since you started this out as a child, I mean, this is something that you're not just passionate with this year. This is something that's been part of your life forever, right?
Well, yeah, my grandma used to joke that I came out of, out being born, just already singing and, wanting to like, get attention, being silly, doing tricks, standing on my head, whatever. In fact, they have a picture of me where I was standing on the fireplace. I think I thought at that point I must have been on a soapbox. I probably didn't even, maybe it was maybe 3 years old and didn't really know what I was saying, but maybe something, important about, maybe I thought I was doing a speech. So yeah, I was always into, just, I guess, singing, dancing, acting, writing, and being very playful. You know what I'm saying? I'm only child, so, yeah, and, but it seems, at first, it was more of this things in school and going to youth fairs and pageants.
Right.
But later on, I get on the cruise ships, and I worked at a talent agency after school when I was 12, and if it wasn't at the talent agency, I was at the amusement parks or the skating rink.
Wow.
So I always tried to be around something fun, or artsy, I guess.
Well, I think that's good, and I find a lot of times with people who are in the entertainment business, in this industry, you have to do stuff like that. And whenever you find people of greatness that has made it in the world, and when you look back at their history, that's the kind of stuff that they've done. And you can tell that within their work today because they've been there and they've done that and they've put in their dues and their times and they've played different places and they've shown throughout their whole life that this is who I am. This isn't something I just decided to do. And it rings out in your work today, because a lot of times people think, oh well, I've been doing this for a year or two, and they think they've got it right. So they think they know everything about the industry, but really when you start as a child, you've got 20 plus years of experience.
It's actually funny. I think a lot of it stems from the fact that I'm very loving. So I just love people. I love animals, and I was always wanting to be around if it's something fun or a birthday party or anything like that. I enjoy life. I think that everybody should try to live their life to the fullest. I would say that it's funny because my people in my family aren't necessarily musical. It was just something that with me individually. So I mean, even as little as I can remember, 6 years old when I was singing like at school, and they would pick people to sing a song. My I remember my mom getting me on the phone with some relative to make me sing over the phone. I thought it was, you know, kind of embarrassing, but it was, you know, that's the kind of stuff I've been living since I was a kid.
Oh, that's cool. Don't you love it when your relatives do stuff like that for you?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've had it where I was at a restaurant and I was put on the spot to like sing a cappella when people were there just to eat and they didn't know who the heck I was. So don't worry, folks, I won't just do that. Usually you'll see me, you know, at an actual venue, appropriately performing. But yeah, I've had those incidents where people just like kind of, you know, nudge me on to do something. I'm like, okay, I'm not shy if you insist. But you know, it was all out of love for people like my relatives or friends, and you know, I love different cultures, so I find a lot of inspiration in things, and I think that's what's always motivated me.
Nice, that's pretty cool. So, how did you get into? You're an actress and a screenwriter. You write a lot of stuff. You're also a producer. How did you get into that?
Well, I mentioned that after school I worked at a talent agency. It was kind of interesting. At this point it was in Florida, and I had answered an ad because I just wanted, you know, to get into more performing. And you know, my parents were, you know, very supportive of me trying to do what I wanted to do and being in activities after school. You know, I tried to get good grades. And when I answered the ad, the lady who ran the agency fell in love with me, like, you know, like she wanted to be like my fairy godmother kind of thing. And she said, why don't you come in the office and work after school, and you can help learn how to, you know, fill out like a artist agreement, or, you know, she had people that she sent out to parties that did like the Backstreet Boys, but it was like they had a different name, like the Down the Street Boys. And yeah, and she knew that I could dance, so she had me. Yeah, it was like hilarious because that way they can get around the copyrights and not get in trouble. Because just they're sending to parties so the little girls can scream while they get birthday cake, and the guys basically will dance to, like, you know, Nick Carter's and their music, and
cool.
So, you know, and they're just lip singing, so they can do that by rights. Or she would send out Mr. Mouse instead of Mickey Mouse, this kind of thing, you know, to a party. And she had me choreograph some of the groups, and so I right then I was already, you know, choreographing, and I sang for a big commercial for Bayside, and I had my own little mini Rockettes behind me.
Nice.
And you know, and it was really fun because I could also say, hey, I want to do this show when somebody would call in to try to book somebody. So I learned a lot, not only about, you know, I was already dancing and singing and into doing commercials, but I also learned about just overall, I guess, showmanship and you know, even circus things. She had jugglers, she had mimes, she had lots of lookalikes. People go out as Elizabeth Taylor, and they dress up like W.C. Fields, and she'd put them all in a limousine and have them show up to like a grand opening of an event. You know, and people would, you know, like pay to have that, and it would help bring people when they pass out balloons and what have you. And I was really enjoying being a part of helping, you know, book that kind of talent, because it's always, you know, really fun. And that inspired some of my songs, and just, you know, helped me as I moved on with writing.
That's
and
cool.
What happened was, I always wrote in school. You know, like I was loving doing book reports or going to journalism little classes for that. So I've got a couple of scripts that I've been carrying around for a couple of years that finally now I have doors opening up for what I'm doing there, which I guess we could touch on in a little while. And because of me loving all different types of arts and being exposed to that, it really leads me to, when I do a show and I'm performing, if I can find any way to make it a production. I mean, like, I can say Pink is a good example. If you see like a Pink video or show, she's got herself on like a trapeze, and she has people doing like fire eating, and then she's got great music. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and you know, I like that. So
see, those are the kind of concerts I like going to too. Is whenever it's a full production. It's a really good show. Yes, exactly.
It's sometimes the budget isn't there, but if you have a little bit of ingenuity, you know, you can still always try to put something together fun. I figure that, you know, I want people to enjoy the music and also enjoy something that, you know, gives them an experience, basically.
Right. Oh, that's so cool. Let's talk about some of the movies you've been in, because you've been in several of them, and some pretty popular ones too, like Something About Mary and Any Given Sunday, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. And of course, a couple of commercials and off-Broadway stuff. But Any Given Sunday and Something About Mary, Tell us about that. How was the experience? How did it go?
Okay, I wish I could say that those were movies that I had bigger things in, but I do have some good roles that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But I tell you what, the experience and the people that I was with, it means so much to me because, I mean, I was sent to go see Ben Stiller in The House of Blue Leaves where he acted on Broadway maybe about 8 months ago because of being in Something About Mary. And it was, it's just, it means a lot to me because I'm inspired by he does his own productions as well, as you know.
Right.
I think it's Red Hour Production Company. And, when I was on the set of Something About Mary, I actually had speaking lines. They had us, it was terrible because it doesn't fit my image, but they had a bunch of girls shoot birds at Chris Elliott in the office scenes in Miami at Brickell Avenue, which is downtown Miami. And the experience I really gained from being in that movie was that they had us pretend we were in Rhode Island while we were filming in Miami because some movies, Bruce Lee was very big on this. He would go and do the fight scenes and then go back and act his scenes out often because he cared about the fight scenes so much. Basically, they filmed a lot of scenes with Matt Dillon and Ben Stiller in Rhode Island, but by the time they did the Miami scenes, I guess they wanted to do something over. And I happened to be in those scenes, and we pretended that the office in Brickell Avenue in Miami was actually in Rhode Island. Matt Dillon was cleaning out his office, and he had his box full of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see me right behind him and Matt Dillon looking kind of like a young version of
I remember that.
Yeah,
I
and they're talking about Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. And that's me, and I sat next to Ben Stiller at lunch for like a couple of days in a row because he, at that point, he knew that I was into music, and we had such great conversations because he, being a producer as well as an actor, he was actually produced Jack Johnson, if you know who that is. It's a really cool musician. You know, he plays guitar and he sings his songs, and he produced him. And at that point, he wanted to come see a show, and it didn't get to happen because he got so wrapped up in I guess, the filming of Something About Mary. But it was a great experience overall. It was just really great between the people, and it's funny. I've been in 2 Cameron Diaz movies and 2 Matt Dillon movies. Because when I was in Any Given Sunday, Cameron Diaz was in that too.
Yep, she was.
Yeah. And Matt Dillon was in Something About Mary, and I was also in Wild Things. But when I was in Wild Things, I didn't know it was going to be such a wild movie. I was in the graduating high school scenes next to R.J. Wagner, Robert Wagner.
Okay.
And we were in Coconut Grove at Mandalay High School, and then they named their company Mandalay Bay. And that was for Wild Things. And I remember standing, pretty close to Neve Campbell while she had her hair red and she was eating an apple, and it was a really nice prep school that we were filming at. Yeah,
I got the chance to meet Denise Richards up in the Sundance Film Festival in Colorado.
Yeah, she came out of the school when they have a fight scene with her and Matt Dillon, and I was standing with my books because I was a high school student in that, but I was actually a little bit younger than high school, like graduating, and they had us graduating, and she rushed past me and nearly knocked me over. So I didn't get to talk to her at that time, but it was still really cool. I did, however, talk to Matt Dillon, and Matt Dillon being, at one point he was a really big teen idol. I must say that there was girls swarming all around him.
Really?
Girls were in droves, and I just talked to him very professionally and in passing, and that was pretty much it because I behaved myself. But yeah, I must say there was you come right out of the trailer and there was girls everywhere. Matt. So literally, I've had a lot of fun experiences, and they've all helped to pave my way to writing and I'm also working with different celebrities originally on helping them make their own film companies. If people might have to notice that sometimes actors, after they do a lot of things, they want to go and become directors themselves.
Oh yeah,
so
from in front of the camera to behind the camera.
Oh yeah, like Ron Howard.
Yes.
And that was a very great transition that he made from being an excellent child actor and in Happy Days to being such a great director and producer.
Exactly.
So I was originally working with shopping the script for the DeLorean story with the lawyers who represented John DeLorean. It's taken a long time because of getting the rights to the estate, and this was actually the attorneys that represented John DeLorean, the gentleman that made the DeLorean car.
Can you say their name? Is it okay?
I sure can, yeah. I definitely want to give a shout out to Mike Morgenroth from Morgenroth Law. We've been working on this a long time, and originally I was going to be like a Jane Mansfield character in the movie that they're trying to do, because I mean, he was also, Morgenroth was working on a DeLorean story, but he was also working on a script called The King and the Queen's Men. That they're, same thing, trying to get the rights, because these are mostly biopics. And there's the two things that have just been out there with the feelers for about 4 years. So it's really interesting how long sometimes certain movies take to come into fruition.
Yeah.
The King and the Queen's Men is actually a film about Elvis and the Beatles. In 1965, Elvis started getting a little bit nervous because the Beatles were surpassing him in sales.
Yeah.
And so he invited them to Graceland to try to kind of get over his, whatever was irking him at the time. And they all ended up jamming out together at Graceland. And there's a lot of people who've worked at Graceland and who were friends with Vernon, which is Elvis's dad, who have been trying to work on this script for years. And that one is actually on its way. There's a road show, and it's actually a pretty interesting story. I think they were having a hard sell with that because there is so many Elvis movies and plays, so they had to try to find the right person to help them get it all packaged. And yeah, so now by doing that, by helping other actors and everything, a couple of times I slated myself. I had people that were investors. And I was learning about the brokering side and everything that were actually interested in my storylines, because I have some really neat concepts. And I said, no, go help these guys first. My actor friends, because I'm that kind of person. I'm band friendly. I'm actor friendly. I believe in, supporting other artists, not just myself.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a very hard to find trait in people these days.
Yeah, one love month. One world, one love. So I believe it all comes back around. Yeah, you got to pay it forward, like that movie, Pay It Forward.
Yeah.
I believe in that.
That's so sweet.
So I actually sent people trying to push them for my friends, and then I ended up like losing contact with them for a while. But now it's coming back for me, and I'm pushing a script that out of 4 scripts that have meant a lot to me that I've written, and they're conceptual. One is called Blue Moon Day. One is Marriageable Women, which is like meant to be an epic saga, kind of like Gangs of New York meets Titanic, but it's romantic. It follows it follows 3 different characters. Marriageable Women, so it's kind of romantic, a little bit sensual. And I can if we have time, I can touch a little bit on the synopsis of them.
Yes, definitely go ahead.
And then
I want to hear about it.
And then also the Armani Arms, which that means probably the most to me because I from the beginning, I was picturing really stylish guys in Armani suits and trying to, get like Armani, the suit guys to be like one of the sponsors.
Yeah.
Which have people putting their feelers out for that. And then they're all different weapon specialists. And even though, it's funny because I'm about peace and I'm advocate for, helping different causes. The idea and the tagline of the story is it's a vigilante movie or a nonviolent vigilante movie. But however, it does have a touch of violence. It's just basically that nobody dies in it. So can't give away the whole story, but it's really got some neat characters. One of the there's a martial arts character. His name is Ace. He's kind of like a Bruce Lee kind of guy. He does Jeet Kune Do, and there's a crazy. He's called Padre. This guy that wears like a priest outfit, and he's got a cannon. Not a cannon. I'm sorry, a tank. He drives a tank.
A tank. Okay, priest driving a tank. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, but he's a weapon specialist, but he dressed like a priest, so they call him Padre. And basically, these guys are trying to. The premise of the movie, what makes it so fun, is you can't really tell who the good guys are or the bad guys are until like you get near the end of the movie, and then you realize that my main characters are the heroes. They're good guys. Okay, so they're doing some messed up things. It looks kind of badass, excuse the term, but they're trying to overthrow some companies that are putting a lot of wrong into the world. So it's got a great moral objective. It's a lot of fun, a lot of action going on. And of course, I wrote myself into it, like Steven Seagal would.
Of course.
So my character's name is Spin. I can't say too much, but it's like a motorcycle person.
Nice.
Yeah, but not like European racing bikes. One of my favorite actors nowadays, I must give a shout out to Ewan McGregor because he's done he actually sings nice. A lot of people don't realize how beautiful his singing voice is. He's
amazing. The thing he did with Nicole Kidman. Oh wow, one of my most favorite.
Tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly. And then he did Star Wars and everything. So he has a bike movie, or it's like a road trip movie with his friend Charles And it's called Long Way Around, and I suggest everybody see it because it's so fun, and there's a lot of candid things about them. They're going through Europe, and so it's like basically European racing bikes that is also written in the script. So the Armani Arms basically implies some, arms like an armory or weapons, and they're stylish. So that's going to sell for like everybody, where it's got the appeal of, say, Ocean's 11 or something being stylish, but it also has a really, really fun storyline, and they're trying to do some good. So maybe one time I'll share you a little. I'm going to be at a place called Chiller Theater in Parsippany, New Jersey on April 29th, and up to the beginning of May. It's all weekend long, and I'll be having copies of the script there, and some different people that are working within the film are going to be there helping sign autographs and just basically promote what we're doing. So if anybody gets a chance to come out, if you're in the East Coast, you should come out to the Chiller Theater event. I have a lot
April
of celebrity 9th. Friends that are going to be there. Sean Patrick Flannery, Norman Reedus, they're both from the Boondock Saints.
Mm-hmm.
Dean Cain, who was Superman in Lois and Clark.
Yep.
He's one of the featured guys there. And the original Gomez Adams, he's going to be there too. So it's a great, celeb event. There's at least 100 stars usually there every time they go to one of these meet and greets.
Now, I've also heard that you do your own stunts. Is that true?
Well, yes. I was just talking about Armani Arms, which, I was inspired by a film that I was in called Skirmish, the paintball movie, which is originally it went straight to video. It was, actually I hope they redo it because it's got such a great fun thing to it. It was billed as Death by Paintball, which I'm into more. Yeah, I'm not really into doing things that are like creepy or anything like that. I like action. I don't mind thrills. I just want to make sure that something positive comes out of some kind of film I'm in. Just like the music, I try to keep it positive.
Right.
But it was really, it was a fun thing where there was a money heist and people had, a whole bunch of mayhem going on out in a place called the Hemlock where they were doing paintball. And
it's a place called Hemlock. Isn't that what somebody in a Shakespeare role drank?
Yeah, well, Hemlock was actually the area is like a big, densely wooded area. So you got the fields where people have like their little forts and people hide behind it and they pummel each other with paintballs, and then you got the wooded area where it's kind of like covert operations where you're there with a little paintball gun and all. Yeah, so that went on. It's over budget, a lot of problems with it, but the really great idea. So then I had at least a scene where I was jumping through some sugar glass. And I originally learned how to do this because this was up north, but in Florida, I was in 3 episodes of a show that only had 13 episodes on USA Network, and it was called Sins of the City, which people totally missed the show because they kept getting it mixed up with Sex in the City. And there was an Australian star called Marcus Graham. And basically I was in downtown Miami again at a dress shop, and I had my hair in ponytails, which I got a bunch of pictures of me like that. I was even in Pop Stars with ponytails in my hair, which is on the WB. And they basically the stunt people had me jump through sugar glass because I had to get out of the way from a Mustang that was heading right into the shop, basically, or one of those deals. So they gave me the stunt hero T-shirt and all that, and then I learned how to jump through sugar glass. Basically, it's not the same as real glass. I had to cover my head. Right. And it was fun. So I'm fearless. I try to learn new things.
So let's talk about some of the albums that you have coming out, because you've got several albums and you got a lot of music out there, and people can go to YouTube and Reverb Nation and all kinds of stuff to listen to some of your songs. But let's talk about, you have a record called None of the Rules Apply, and you have Fountain of Youth.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because Fountain of Youth was being written before the Pirates of the Caribbean decided to come out and have their Fountain of Youth, or on Stranger Tides, with the Fountain of Youth theme. So I'm like, wow, it just, before that even happened, it's like it was in the universe floating around, and I had the idea that, a Fountain of Youth is basically within you, especially nowadays you see people trying to be more healthy, they have a different outlook. I've always been a big kid.
Right.
I'm like Disney. I love Disney cartoons. You
So
name
do
it,
I.
toys.
So
I have
do
a lot
I.
of friends
Exactly.
I have a lot of friends that no matter what, they all play video games. We all love, collecting, I don't know, like cool gadgets and things like that are, if it's a gizmo or it's like a toy, it's fun. So
That's awesome.
And a lot of times at the shows we get hand out bubbles and glow sticks or anything just to keep everybody, involved in the audience, jumping around. So Fountain of Youth, that was the idea, and I thought, hey, that's a great way to have some really cool artwork in the CD. And so there's a lot of cool songs I like on that. Plus, I started getting engineers that were mixing it better, like the songs, because I've had some great highlights of in my career so far, and I've had some really things that were like unfair that happened to me that I've tried to overcome those obstacles. And one of them was like people mixing songs that lost my harmonies, lost guitar parts, they lost things. So I'm really proud of the album Fountain of Youth, because not only is there a lot of good songs, and they're songs that, like, if it's funny, because somebody that likes rock can hear it and say, well, that's kind of R&B, but I still like it. Or somebody that likes only funk and soul can hear it and say, well, that song's kind of rock, but I still like it. So
yeah.
And it's mixed good, so I was really happy with that one.
Okay, so a couple of songs from Fountain of Youth I'm interested in. One of them is called Ceremony. Can you talk about that? I like to find out why the person wrote the song and what it meant to them and everything else. Can you talk about Ceremony?
Well, I have fellow artists that are, and celebrities that are friends that, sometimes they say that their songs are like diary entries, but, I don't want people to picture me looking like Shrek. But I am, kind of like Shrek, where I have layers. You know what I mean? He says he's Onion Boy or whatever, and sometimes it's not just he's Onion Boy. He has layers. Yeah. So with me, it's not.
I was like, you look nothing like Shrek. You're like Marilyn Monroe. You're nothing like Shrek.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. That's another thing about me. Somebody the other day said this lady that's a Stevie Nicks fan just kept like trying to hug me over and over.
Stevie Nicks. Yes. Yeah,
she reminded me of Stevie Nicks. I had somebody else. Yeah. I've been compared to so many different people, and I'm like, hey, I'm just me, okay? But thank you. At least it's not Shrek, right? I'm not green.
But you got layers.
Yeah, I got layers though, and the layers. What I mean by layers is the personality layer.
Yes, exactly.
It's not multiple personalities. Not that. But what I mean is there's different things I can convey, and they're not going to all always come out the same, which is what helps weave a really interesting tapestry to my catalog. And basically I have the song things that mean so much to me that I can express in different ways, right? So and I have this album that means so much to me of Fountain of Youth, and they all tie into me having different ways to express things, basically. And one song can be inspired to me because it actually came from my own experience. But another thing, sometimes I have songs where I'm thinking more on a universal level, and I'm picturing the way something should be. You know what I'm saying? So Ceremony is more of me making a statement, that it can. A lot of people are serial dating lately. I can't really tell anybody what to do, but that there is a beauty if you happen to find true love. So the song is about, I guess, somebody finding the right love and having, really enjoying it. Basically, it's just a sexy, romantic song.
Cool.
And the ceremony is, I guess, about having a good union. And I just sent that out to the universe. So that's Ceremony, and it's got a reggae kind of backbeat feel to it, soulful vocals, and I like it. It's a kind of less is more type of song, which sometimes I have songs where I like to have lush orchestrations and things, but this one is guitars and drums and a nice vocal and a hook, and that's pretty much it.
Here is Tiffinni with her song Ceremony.
Na 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 na
also, for crossover work, you have this rock ballad that's out there, and it's kind of very Bonnie Tyler-ish, with a piano hook to it, and it's called "Distracted by You."
Yes. Yeah, I love that. It doesn't, I don't sound like Bonnie Tyler or anything like that. I mean, I do sing with a growl when I want to. Like if I do a Janis Joplin song, she was known for that growl and that whiskey throat.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And I'm glad to say that I don't have an actual whiskey throat, but I know how to turn it on. It's like it's a vocal, it's just another vocal stylizing.
Right.
So you know how to sing. Head voice, or you sing belting, and then you can also growl.
Yeah, I do all that in the shower. Yeah, I got you.
In the shower. Or you can do the Dave Hetfield and put a or the end, you know what I mean? I'm not doing a really good impression of Dave Hetfield, but you know what I mean? Like you can put the little growl right at the end of a note, and you got that there, and that's always a crowd pleaser also. So, Distracted by You. I just wanted to have some really intense piano hook to it, like Jim Steinman, who worked with Meatloaf and Bonnie Tyler. So that's the main idea. Let's get a really nice piano part, and it's basically about, is this a PG-13 show, or is it R? Okay, it's basically about being really, I guess lit up and on fire and turned on by somebody, to the point where you can't concentrate. So it's kind of it's innocently lustful, if that's possible.
That's very possible.
Okay. So you just got somebody that's like, they blew you away so much that you can't think, or maybe I'm blowing them away so much that they can't think. So it's a sensual song, and it's getting a lot of attention in Europe, and I believe it or not, I have a fan club in Australia. I'd like to give a shout out to Catherine Ann Revel. She's an equestrian friend of mine, and she's been promoting the fan base. So I hope within a year's time or so, maybe to be going to Australia to do a show.
Nice.
Yeah, and they love it from out there. It's like one of the main ones she's been pushing.
Well, I love the song title, "Distracted by You." So I have to kind of ask this question. Is this a real song that you can relate to, that you wrote about somebody?
Hey, I work with a lot of fellow celebs that are like legendary, and I must say I've kind of learned how to be a little tongue-in-cheek, or what do you call it, tongue-in-cheek? Cagey. I've known how to be cagey, and it could possibly be like inspired by someone.
Okay.
But who they are, who's to say, I'm not sure, because I think like I said, I hope to turn it around and make it that everybody's distracted by me as much as possible in a good way.
Yes, definitely.
Like if they hear the song on the radio, they gotta stop and listen. You gotta snap your fingers and sing along.
Here she is with "Distracted."
but that's a good tie-in for me to mention some of the people I'm working with.
Yes, please go ahead.
Stuff happening.
Yeah.
Well, okay, these guys are family guys, so at this point, so it's not really directed to them, although they are a great attraction. The band and I are proud to say that we have some joint shows coming up. One is at Sullivan Hall on March 22nd, where original members of the legendary Sugar Hill Gang that did Rapper's Delight, the hip hop hippie to the hippie.
Oh yeah, love that.
Are my friends, and they're called Rapper's Delight now due to some name disputes with only one of the members. Believe it or not, all the main members are my buddies, and it's just one guy, and he put the rift where they have to have their name
always one
slightly different.
That one guy.
Yes, I know.
Oh.
So it's not quite fair. In fact, it's so unfair that originally I was working with them on their documentary, and I had a celebrity friend, a 80s icon. A lot of people know the story, and he was working on it with me, but he got in another movie and put them aside. Well, I'm really proud because it's been like 5 years, and finally they've got their documentary put together by somebody else. And we're all going to be at the Garden State Film Festival. I hope to join them there at least for a couple hours. And it's called I Want My Name Back because they couldn't use their name. And it's like the life story of how the Sugar Hill Gang started, because they were like the pioneers of hip-hop, and they're not necessarily rap. They're kind of like a fun party hip-hop rap type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about, copyrights and all this stuff you got to do with trade names and service names. By the way, I've done a lot of that to my name and my logo so that nobody can mess with me.
Right. And it's sad, but you have to do that.
Yeah, and it's smart, and I've got people helping trying to protect like archives and so forth, and I've learned that you got to try to keep whatever means so much to you as sacred as you can so you can preserve it. And basically these guys are really cool. They're going to not come to my show and open, and I'm not opening for them. There's so much like of a appreciation for each other there,
mm-hmm.
even though I'm not really like necessarily hip hop. I'm I like everything. They are coming to do shows with me, and they're going to do a couple of their classic hits, but then they're going to come up on stage and join my band and my dancers and and they're going to rap while I sing, and I have a song that I wrote with them in mind, and we're going to just like do a couple numbers together in New York and LA and Las Vegas. We've been setting up plans. So along with my regular shows, I have these special shows. It's Tiffinni, Ranae, and the band, and Rapper's Delight. So,
okay,
you guys got to see this because it's kind of like Fergie and the Black Eyed Peas, but of course it's our own thing.
Nice.
If you like that, or Nelly Furtado with Timberland. It's got its nice groove, and they're very refreshing. In fact, I just mentioned Timberland. The thing I like about these guys is they're family guys, and they're really cool. You've got Hen Dog and T Dynasty Wonder Mike and Master G. And what's really nice about these guys is that they're fun, they're good to do with, and they've been writing new songs. They kept it fresh. They brought it back to now. And just recently they were opening for there was Justin Timberlake or the NSYNC a couple years ago, and they had a song list in Europe that's done really well. So it's not just Rapper's Delight, and it's not just Apache, which I like that song a lot. If you haven't heard Apache, if you're a fan of Will Smith and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air,
oh yeah,
all you gotta do is look for some of the older, like the reruns, and you'll see where Will Smith and Carlton went to join a talent contest, and they were dancing to Apache with like these cut up shirts and headbands.
They were in Las Vegas or something like that.
Yeah, it was so hilarious.
Yeah,
and the Sugar Hill Gang guys that I work with now, Rapper's Delight, they're so cool that they know it's funny. They think it's hilarious. They have it posted on a lot of their sites. Carlton and Will are dancing, and all of a sudden Will Smith just picks up Carlton and throws him across the room like a rag doll.
Yeah.
And it's such a great song. And I was people from the Apollo, they play it all the time in between the shows when they're letting the audience leave the building. And it's still like a great dance hit where people just want to groove to it. And of course Rapper's Delight. If you haven't heard that, which you must probably be under a rock if you haven't heard it, guys, no offense, but all you gotta do is watch Wedding Singer. And there's a great scene where the old lady that Adam Sandler, she gives him meatballs and whatever. At the end, she sings the song to her husband.
Yeah.
or before she sings to her husband. So it's a classic song. These guys are legends, and I'm glad to be doing some things with them.
Sweet. It sounds like you're actually, well, I mean, more busy than what I originally thought. You were like super, super busy, so I think that's pretty cool. So what
because I have my own shows, but I'm glad to have these joint shows too, because it's a way to explore different avenues and reach different audiences, and they see it the same way, that they can cross genres and reach different people that might see them in different light, which is always good.
So we mentioned for some future project shows and things like that you're working on. We mentioned this. You've got some LP releases coming up, like Fountain of You, The Rules Apply, Birthright. What are some other things?
Well, I just have a few more shows I can plug, and perhaps when if I get to follow up on some things with you, there's some things in the work, but I'd like to talk about them more when I get them a little bit, more solidified.
Yes, I'd love to have you back.
It's not too good to overly talk when, because that's just kind of the name of the game. Sometimes something gets there, it lines up for you, and it falls out, and then something better comes in its place. But I have a special show with my band. It's also a New York one before going back to LA. And it's near the new Freedom Towers. It's on Murray Street. It's called Uncle Mike's. And it's got a big catwalk, and it's not like Sullivan Hall, because Sullivan Hall is a premier Ticketmaster venue. But the cool thing about it is I have some friends. I have a lot of celeb friends, and they mean so much to me. It's like they're real people, you know what I mean? They're not just celebrities. They all got their families, or they're just nice people, or or they don't have families, but you know what I'm saying? They're just like you and me. And we might have Monty A. Melnick, who's the road manager for the Ramones originally, before some of them passed away. Mm-hmm. He might be joining us and have a booth while we play, promoting his book, because he's got a book about On the Road with the Ramones. And
I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like maybe we could have some of these people call in and you can interview them too.
Yes, that would be great.
It basically talks about a lot of hilarity and mayhem that was on the road with these guys. And, he's just a lot of fun. And then I have a gentleman who worked for EMI Records, and he has a lot to do with, I guess, CBGBs that might be reopening because they closed, which is also in New York, B-52s and Blondie and all those guys came from it. And he's supposed to be joining us at this show, and that will be April 7th. And it's at a place called Uncle Mike's. And that place is really, I really like to give him a shout-out because they are very supportive of me in the sense that I'm like all over their wall, and there's other artists that come there, and we happened to go in there the other day after not being there for months, and it's like my picture everywhere. I'm like, wow, you guys are really cool. You have me over all these people, and I think even somebody posted a flyer from one of my other shows that mentioned another venue, and they had that in there too, and I'm like, come on, you guys are nice. We don't have to do that.
That's some awesome love right there.
Yeah, it's a nice spot. It's a lot of fun. There's a dance floor, and if anybody can come out, if you manage to contact somebody, I'm not always on the Facebook. I have people that help, street team and reps. But if you say that you heard me on this show, then we can get you some free passes.
That's awesome. Yes.
Yes. So if they come and they call through your show, Brian, we'd like to let them know that they can get some free passes by responding. You can just you can find me on Facebook, or you can call the booking hotline, which is, if I'm allowed to say it.
Yes, please.
Yes, 310-902-9512. And you say that you heard it from this radio station, we will give you some free passes.
And you're listening to the Bryan Lee Whatley Show. So there you go. Okay, you said April the 7th on that one, and that's Uncle Mike's. And then you're going to be at the Chiller Theater on April 9th, right?
April 29th, yeah. At the end.
April 29th. Okay, I was going to say, wow, that's a fast turnaround time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do the show biannually, so they do it around Halloween, and it's weird. I don't really. I've always, when I've been attending that, I've been there as a non-horror star, and I can tell you, there's been a lot of great stars that have come to the show, and I've hung out with them or had my booth next to them. Frank Stallone, which is Sylvester Stallone's brother, he's actually very talented. He's worked on a lot of the boxing scenes with his brother Sylvester for certain movies. He has a hit from the 80s that was in the John Travolta movie. Basically, let's see, China, the wrestler has been there. amazing group of talented, famous people. When I was a lot of times in California, I'm not just acting or singing. I'm also doing a lot more meet and greets. In 2004, my band and I were performing at Beverly Garland Hotel, and Val Kilmer was there, and he's also come to Chiller Theater. So he's, it's a great event.
Okay.
And it's like a mini version of Comic-Con. If you're into Comic-Con, you should come to the Chiller Theater.
Yep, love Comic-Con. Okay, so how can people contact you? Your websites, we mentioned Facebook earlier. You've got all kinds. You've got like 100 and something YouTube video things up there for information.
Yeah, it's funny because we have some official ones that are more cinematic coming, and that's basically, it's only it's supposed to come to regular TV, and it's only for the fan club. So if you want to see some of the real groovy videos, the idea is it doesn't cost anything to join the fan club, so don't be shy, just join up. We just want to like keep track and like be able to keep in touch with you and that kind of thing.
Yeah. And get free tickets.
And you can see some real cinematic videos, Panavision style, or a couple cameras at least, not just clips or, random stuff, and real productions. And basically, if you're really a friend or a fan, it's simple. All you got to do is know how to spell my name.
Yep.
And that's Tiffinni. Okay? Tiffinni. I'm not a Tiffanny, and I'm not Tiffunny. Well, I can be funny. But yeah. So if you know Tiffinni, which is like infinity, kind of backwards, because I hope to touch on something infinite within everybody as much as I can.
Oh, that's poetic.
And then
like
Saint. And that's spelled out, Saint, and then Ranae, spelled very weird. It's not a first name spelling, it's a last name spelling, and that's Ranae. Then you got me. But basically, you can even Google me and just look for the main Facebook and by putting in my first name. So it's kind of easy.
Okay, and you're also on Twitter.
I like to tweet. Not as much as John Mayer. John Mayer, I think, is one of the biggest, and also Lady Gaga. I think she just broke a record of tweeting.
Crazy. Where'd she find the time? She's got people doing it. It's not her.
Tweeting, yes. And I think there's a new one that's trying to come out and trying to give Twitter a little bit of competition. I heard this thing the other day called Hoot.
Oh.
If you can't tweet, you can hoot.
Now,
so, yeah.
for everybody on Twitter, it's Tiffinni Saint with an R, and then it's just R. It's not the full last name spelled, correct?
Yeah, they didn't let me finish. I don't know what that's about. I guess other people
Twitters.
Yeah, they don't want us to put our own on a load. They just don't give you enough room to put the whole name, so it stopped there. But that's me. I mean, you can see the picture of me. I think there's one picture I look kind of like Barbara Eden or I Dream of Jeannie, like, from I Dream of Jeannie thing. I have the big ponytail. Everybody says it's like a genius thing. That's me. That's
cool. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any final thoughts you would like for everyone to know?
Final thoughts. Here, I believe that nothing should be totally final. I believe that there's always, even if something seems like an end, just look for the new beginning. So I'm very much one of those people that believes in, every cloud has a silver lining. We'll meet again, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I don't want to have any final thoughts because I hope you guys will keep continuing with me in my journey. And keep in touch with me. So this is an opening thought, even though I guess we're closing the show right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, my thought is keep in touch with me. I'd like to bring you closer, and thank you for listening. And anybody that that wants to say that they heard me on the show, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Sweet. I like that, how you changed the final thought to an opening thought. That was really cool. I really like that.
I don't believe in. I believe in beginnings. Let's put it that way. There's always some new road, and something wonderful can come out of something.
Yeah. And from talking to you tonight, learning more about you, you're exactly that. You're the epitome of that. If you're not singing, you're acting. If you're not acting, you're doing something else. And there's no final. There's always a new opening.
Yeah.
So very cool.
It's kind of like love, or kind of like the idea from Titanic. The heart will go on. Our life. I believe that we all have energy. Life is infinite. That kind of thing.
Cool.
Yeah. In fact, I have a song called Spirit of You, which is something we didn't mention. Maybe I could send that to you also. And that's about, people's love and energy living on. That there's always something, I believe that, we're all connected and there's a bigger thing. And so it's about, everything having, I guess, a deeper meaning than we all managed to see.
Very nice. I agree about that too.
Yes, energy that goes on forever, continuously.
Yeah. Very nice. Well,
Okay.
on behalf of everybody, all our listeners, all the producers of the show, everybody that works together here, I want to thank you so much, Tiffany, for being on the show. It's been a
Yes.
pleasure talking to you, and I love to
Woohoo.
have you back as soon as we can get you back. And I wish you all the great success for everything that you're doing.
Well, hey, I can't wait because I had a lot of fun. You're very fun to talk to, and this is an excellent show. So, I'm looking forward to being on the show again and letting everybody know how great it is and how great of a host you are.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you to all you listeners.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And now a word from our sponsors.
At Taylor Gifts, we do customized monogramming and embroidery. We can monogram anything from a simple one name on a bib for a baby to a customized logo on a company shirt. We can make gifts for your wedding entourage and gifts for your friends. Label your children's items for school and put names on jerseys for sports. If you have items of your own you want them monogrammed and embroidered, we can do that. Tailor Gifts are sewn with high-quality thread on a professional embroidery machine. So go to the website www.tailorgifts.net, call 251-391-4354, email sales@tailorgifts.net, visit us at ETSY, and Facebook us. We are ready for your orders.
Welcome to WROM, Realms of Music Radio and Social Network. We support independent artists and talk shows, hosting a large discussion forum and an artist gallery. We also have a large social network combining the best of Facebook and MySpace into one. So make sure you submit your music to us and create a profile to promote yourself today. That's realmsofmusic.com, the best of music radio.
The Ghost Tales Television Network, GTN. GTN is designed to give the paranormal TV and filmmaking community the opportunity to showcase their talents and creations. If you believe you have what it takes to create your very own TV show and or short film and you would like the opportunity to showcase your creations, you may contact us at ghosttales.tv@gmail.com or call 901-377-7166 for more details. Make sure you visit ghosttalestv.com. GTN, America's Paranormal Superstation.
Thank you for listening to the show. I am your host, Bryan Lee Whatley. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next time when another story begins. Until then, love and light.